everybody. It's Ann Kaplan from Mom Me, your mama resource from conception to college. Wherever you are on your momming journey, we are here for you. And what are we talking about this week? You guys already know if you've been watching all week long. We are talking about friendships. We're talking about the challenges of friendships. And guess what, you guys? All these lessons that we've been talking about all along with friendships are for us and our kids. The truth is, having challenges with friendships doesn't go away just because you're a grown-up. That is for darn sure. So, excuse me. What I want to talk about today is how do we help our kids when we're watching them struggle with friendships? Because the only thing worse than feeling slighted or frustrated in a friendship is watching our kids go through that same thing. Just like everything in life, it is so hard and so sad to watch our kids navigate something, especially something like this, because we can empathize with it so much. We know how it feels. So what's the first temptation? Jump in and make sure everyone's being nice. Stop fights before they start, especially when your kids are really young and they're on the playground and all of those things. But I want to plant a few seeds for you guys in your mind to hopefully make you think a little bit differently about this stuff and maybe change the way that you're helping your kids when they're struggling with friendship stuff. And this applies regardless of if your kid is 2 or 10 or 20, okay? We have got to fight the rescue reflex with our kids. Our kids need to have experiential learning because experiential learning is the most profound, lasting, and deeply effective type of learning that anybody can ever have. And when we swoop in and rescue our kids when they're having trouble, we're robbing them of the chance to have this experiential learning, and the lesson that experience would teach them, they have to try to learn it over and over and over again for the rest of their lives to try to get what one experience could have taught them. And most of the time, it's not possible. So I want you to think, when you have that rescue reflex, rescue reflex is a robbing reflex, okay? R, okay? To rescue your kid is to rob your kid of experiential learning. So what do we do instead? My first tip to you guys when it comes to watching your kids struggle with friendships and relationships, stay out of it as much as possible. Obviously, if someone's life or limb is in danger, you need to do something. But as much as you can possibly stay out of your kids' interactions with other kids, do it. And sometimes that means going and removing yourself from the situation, because what's happening is an annoying fight that if you stay in the room, it's going to be impossible for you to zip it and let them resolve it because it's going crazy. They're yelling at each other. Maybe they're saying mean words, blah, blah, blah. Leave the room, okay? Because when you rescue, you rob, okay? So stay out of it as much as possible. Second tip, be a consultant. Don't rescue. Don't tell your kid what to do. Don't say, oh, this is your fault because you acted this way, or that's what happens when we take our friends' toys, or any of those things that we all want to say when we're parents. Put on your consultant hat. Instead of telling your kid something that they didn't ask you to tell them, answering a question they didn't ask you, telling them what to do next time, telling them that their friend is a jerk or that they're a jerk, or all the things we want to say, instead, first, show up in empathy to your kids. Say, buddy, I know exactly how it feels when friend stuff happens, whatever the friend thing is. So-and-so was mean to me. So-and-so took my toy. These guys were playing and they didn't include me. All of those things, say, I know how that feels. And if you can even remember a story when that's happened to you before, tell that story. And then say, I know that if anybody can solve this problem in this world, it is you. I believe in you. You're giving the message before you do anything that I get you, I believe in your ability, and then you offer. Do you want to hear some ideas about how other people have solved these problems before? And then you could say, you could talk to a teacher. You could go over to your friends and tell them how you feel. You could decide that it's not going to bother you and you're just going to play with somebody else. You know, whatever the ideas are. Oh my goodness, what's going on in my throat today? So, be a consultant. That's the second tip, okay? Don't rescue. Be a consultant. Which means, break that down, empathy first and foremost, you guys, okay? Empathy, and then offer. Empathy, then offer. Don't give unsolicited advice. Offer advice and respond how they want. Sometimes your kids just want a hug, man. And that sympathy, that empathy is all they really need. And the last tip I want to tell you is if you do have to intervene off stage, okay? Don't do it in front of your child, where your child either could feel ashamed that they needed your help, or, oh good, mom's solving this so I don't have to figure it out for myself. You don't want your kid thinking either of those things. So if there's a situation where it needs to be intervened, and I'll give you an example. My oldest son right now has one of his best friends in the whole wide world in Denver, and he wants to communicate with his friend. He's tried with WhatsApp. He's tried to send him videos and all these things, but this friend, he's just not like a super like technology guy. He's kind of reserved with his feelings. And even though I've talked to his mom a bunch of times because we're friends too, and she's told me how much her son misses my son, this guy is just not conveying that to Elijah. And Elijah really felt upset and bummed out. And I have given Elijah lots of advice when he's asked me for it, and patted him on the back and given him tons of love and told him he's an awesome rock star. But finally, I did decide, you know what, I'm sure if I just gave a gentle nudge, my friend would realize and say, oh my gosh, no problem, I'm going to have him send him a video or whatever. So I did. Offstage. I sent a really nice message saying, hey, I know it's just because he's really shy and he doesn't like doing videos and stuff like that, but if he could just send one thing to Elijah, it would make him feel so much better. That is a perfectly fine thing for me to do in that moment, after there's been a long slew of time of Elijah working this out by himself, and something that I'm doing off stage. That's not giving Elijah the message, you can't handle this on your own, you need me to solve your problems, or, oh my God, you're 13 and your mom has to fix your friendships for you, what's the matter with you? I don't want to give any of those messages to my son. So there's plenty of examples where we sit back and we know these problems could be solved in a second, but instead we have to sit back and watch these kids fumble and flail and flounder until they figure it out themselves. And that's the gift we give them when we give them experiential learning. I hope that's helpful for you. Nobody knows like I do how hard it is to sit on our hands and watch our kids struggle. And if you need a little bit of extra help, a little bit of extra tips on how to help our kids, how to get them to listen the first time, how to do all this mom stuff without losing your cool and losing your temper on your kids, I'm going to put a link in the comments below one more time, you guys, to get the copy of Saturday's webinar, which was all about that. 3 secrets to raising great kids without losing your sanity. It's all about these experiential learning that we're trying to give our kids without losing our cool, having a life, loving our lives, and raising amazing kids at the same time. I'm going to put a link in the comments below. Get yourself that audio if you haven't already. It's seriously going to change your life. I love you guys so much. Can't wait to talk to you again, and share out in the group this week. I want to hear what struggles you guys have gone through, either with changes in yourself and your own friendships after you've become a mother or as you've been a mother, and what struggles are you watching your kids deal with now that they're old enough to start having their own social interactions. I can't wait to hear. I'll talk to you again next week. I obviously need a glass of water, so I gotta go. Bye, everybody.